Let's talk about a verse in the Quran that almost everyone has heard of. It's one of the most famous, and maybe infamous, verses dealing with morality and punishment. But what if for centuries we've been getting the most basic meaning of it wrong? Yep, there it is, the common translation of Quran 24:2. It seems pretty cut and dry, right? A physical punishment for a sexual crime. This single interpretation has shaped laws, cultures, and lives for a very, very long time. It's the status quo.
But here's the big question, the one that changes everything. What if the Quran, in this verse, isn't actually talking about sex? What if the crime, the punishment, and even the people involved have been completely misunderstood? Well, let's find out.
Okay, so to even begin to tackle that, we need a different kind of tool. The whole argument we're exploring today hinges on a very specific method of interpretation, one that tries to let the Quran explain itself using its own words.
It boils down to 3 simple but really powerful rules. Rule number 1, use only the Quran. That means we have to set aside everything else, later commentaries, traditions, even the classical dictionaries. Second, find the internal network. How does the Quran use a word in other places? What other words does it hang out with? And finally, rule 3, ditch our modern assumptions, especially about things like biological gender. The whole idea is to see what the text says when it's just speaking for itself.
All right, got our tool? Good. Let's go back to that verse and start taking it apart word by word. And trust me, this is where it gets fascinating.
First up, the big one, zina. We all think it means adultery or fornication. But if you look only at how it's used inside the Quran, a totally different picture starts to form. The root seems to be about mixing things that shouldn't be mixed, about breaking trust, about shattering social contracts.
And look at this. This is what's so cool. The Quran itself groups zina with a bunch of other things, like theft, betrayal of trust, and transgression. Notice a theme here? According to this analysis, it's not in some special category of private sexual misdeeds. It's lumped in with crimes of public social corruption. It's a breach of public trust. Okay, so what about the punishment? Jalda. We've always heard it means lashing or flogging. But the root word, it's all about the skin, the outer surface. So what if it doesn't mean hitting the skin, but bringing something to the surface? You know, making it clear, exposing it. It becomes about public accountability.
Here's a great way to think about it. Imagine a crooked politician, and a detailed report comes out exposing all their secret deals, all their corruption. The wrongdoing is brought to the surface for everyone to see. That's the idea of Jalda here. It's not about violence, it's about a complete, nonviolent, public accounting of what they did wrong.
Okay, but wait, what about the adulteress and the adulterer, the man and the woman? Well, this analysis argues that those grammatical forms, masculine and feminine, aren't about biological sex at all. Think of them as functional roles in the act of corruption, like one is the initiator and the other is the participant, or maybe the fabricator of the corruption and the amplifier who spreads it.
All right, so we've got our new definitions. Let's plug them back into the original verse and see what happens. The transformation is pretty incredible.
Just look at the difference. On one side, the verse we all know, but on the other, using the Quran-only definitions, it reads something like, those who violate boundaries and corrupt trust subject each of them to complete public accountability. See that? It's a completely different message. It shifts from policing people's private lives to demanding integrity in the public square. Now, to really show this isn't just a one-off thing, we have to look at one more word, qatl. We all think it means to kill. But the argument is that the Quran has a specific word for biological death, maut, which only God can cause. So, when humans commit qatl, it means something else, like violating or nullifying a person's rights, their sanctity, their very personhood. And with that in mind, look at this other verse. The old translation feels a bit like a random list of bad things, right? Killing, adultery, idolatry. But with our new terms, it becomes this beautifully consistent theme. Don't violate a person's sanctity, don't corrupt social boundaries, and don't corrupt truth itself. It just clicks. And just to really nail it down, here's one more. Do not go near adultery becomes do not move toward the collapse of rightful boundaries. See the pattern? It's consistently about the bigger picture, maintaining social and moral order, not just policing one specific act.
So let's step back for a second. What does all of this mean? This isn't just about changing a few words. It's a massive shift in the entire focus of the text.
This really puts it in perspective. The traditional view, it's all about sexual policing. But this Quran-only method, the focus completely shifts to social integrity, to public justice. Two totally different worldviews born from the exact same text.
So if you take away anything from this, let it be this. In this framework, zina isn't about sex. It's about breaking social trust. The so-called punishment isn't violence, it's public exposure. Grammatical gender can be about roles, not just biology, and the real game changer here isn't any single definition, it's the interpretive method that unlocks this whole new meaning.
Because at the end of the day, this isn't really about one word. It's about showing how the lens you use to read a text can completely transform what you find inside it. It's a case study in how we build meaning, shifting an entire framework from punishment to one of justice.
And just to leave you with something to chew on, the source material points us to another famous verse, the one about the male thief and the female thief.
So here's the final question for you. If the adulterer and adulteress can mean an initiator and an amplifier of corruption, what on earth could the male thief and the female thief actually be about? Makes you think, doesn't it?